A few years ago, I went to Seattle with one of my friends, and we were just walking around, and I saw some really cool street art, and it was a spray paint of a cow's face on the side of a building, and then it also had the words spray painted on it, "Not my mother, not my milk." And I was like, whoa, and I was like, huh, that's interesting. And then I showed that to my friend, and I was like, well, I guess like cow's milk is breast milk from another species. And then we were both looking at each other, and I was like, I didn't know what to think. And I was like, well, I guess that's just the way it is. That's the way things are. Me going vegan was like a bunch of different things that happened at different times. And one of them, I think, was seeing that piece of artwork. Made me question why do humans consume dairy? My name is Malaya, and this is the story of why I became vegan. My family's from the Philippines. It's an island nation of more than 7,000 islands. The Philippines is really heavily impacted by climate change, and with the sea levels rising and coral reefs dying, the monsoon season is happening when it's not supposed to be happening. It really made me worry and made me really sad. I feel like a lot of other young people are worried about climate change, but they just don't know what to do about it. They feel like there isn't a solution because it's like the government isn't doing anything. So I started doing research. I learned that greenhouse gas emissions from the animal agriculture industry exceed that of planes, trains, boats, and cars. We only have one atmosphere. We only have one planet. No one is protected from this climate change that's happening. It's not just about biodiversity. This is also about our survival, humans as a species. And a lot of cultural diversity would be lost, and people, different kinds of people and ethnic groups that are particularly vulnerable to climate change, they'll go extinct also if we don't change the way that we're living. The day that I learned that, I was like, okay, like I have to become vegan. I went vegan on January 21st, and I didn't plan this. It was just a coincidence, but that's also Martin Luther King Jr. Day. I think that it makes perfect sense that I became vegan on that day because I see veganism as about social justice, and like Martin Luther King Jr. is about social justice. There is an intersectionality between racism and speciesism. What's happening to animals right now is really abject cruelty. It's horrendous. It's like, imagine being in a small enclosed space where you can't turn around, or living in a warehouse and not being able to feel like the sunshine on your skin for the entirety of your life. I've always wanted to be vegan ever since I was a little girl, and I learned that beef is really cow. And I remember that moment, I was sitting at the dinner table with my family, and then I imagined like a cow in front of me, and I was thinking about like, they're living animals. And then I had to eat this beef, and like, I think that there's something that happens to us when we eat meat that we have to turn off our empathy and compassion. It's not just about the dairy and meat industry teaching us that we need to eat meat, we need to drink milk, that women need to eat yogurt, that men need to eat lots of meat. It's also the way that we're taught as children to view animals and our relationship with animals. I remember growing up, I used to eat fish every day, and sometimes I would eat fish with every meal, and sometimes even as a snack. And I would love eating fish, and I have a lot of really nice memories with my family, like frying fish and the smell of the fish and fish sauce and all of that. And then I was like thinking about it one day, and I was like, so there's a lot of people in the world that are eating fish, and the world's population is growing, and there's a lot of Filipinos. I was thinking like, what if we just eat all the fish? I was thinking like, how is this sustainable? I was worrying about it, and I was thinking about it, And I told my dad, and he said for me not to worry, because he said, don't worry, fish aren't animals. They're just like leaves of the sea. One day, humans will know that what we're doing to animals is barbaric, because what we're doing to animals was once done to people of color, and it was once considered acceptable. I was surprised to learn that humans were in zoos. It was mostly people of color who were taken, stolen from their homes, and brought to the US and Europe for the amusement and entertainment of white people. People would actually buy tickets and pay money to go to these human zoos. A lot of Filipinos were taken, especially from the Ilocos region of the Philippines. And I have family from that part of the Philippines, and a lot of Ifugao people were taken and put on display in these human zoos. What we're doing with animals, putting them in zoos, is wrong because it's not a way for us to learn about animals and their way of life and understand them. People think that it's okay because they see animals as being different. And also, white people thought it was okay to put Filipinos in zoos because Filipino culture is different than their culture. Humans don't understand how complex animals really are. They often see them as being like unintelligent. People don't see animals as having value, and they disregard them, and they're often misunderstood. So we all have our own unique experience of being alive, and that's what makes each species of animal special and valuable. And just because that they don't talk, it doesn't mean that it's okay for us to do whatever we want with them. I have a certain level of autonomy and freedom over my body that unfortunately a lot of animals in factory farms don't get to experience. Just like how I have a right as a human to be free, animals do too. We have no right to take animals from their natural habitat, from their natural homes. Animals are intelligent in ways that we're not, and they could show us a lot about how we could be. They just want to live and be free. There's a lot of things wrong with the world right now, and there's a lot of things that we need to do, but we could start by going vegan. If you care about social justice, if you care about your own security and future, or the future of your children or grandchildren, of other people, if you care about animals at all and your own health, you would go vegan. Being vegan for me is like a heart opener, and it also opened my eyes to what's going on in the world and the suffering of humans and animals. I feel like it's helped me be more compassionate and have more empathy. And I feel like my heart is full of love.